That being said, our first event to kickstart this forum will be from Carrie Cook, the Chief Executive Officer of Preferred Trust Company. Carrie, are you here with us today?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Perfect. Please take it away.
All right. All right. So today's kind of exciting for me. I obviously work in the alternative space for all different types of alternative assets with the self-directed IRA. And today is kind of fun for me because I get an opportunity to talk a little bit about how we can shelter our cryptocurrency investments from taxes. It's a topic all of us, it's near and dear to our heart, is taxes, and how to really make improvements to our investment strategies that allow us later on in the future to take advantage of them. And cryptocurrency is no different. So let's get started really quickly. I don't want to assume that everybody understands how the self-directed IRA industry works or why we exist. So just for a brief moment, I'm going to talk a little bit about the two different types. We have tax-deferred income IRAs, and then we have tax-free income IRAs. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that traditional, SEPs, and simples all fall under the tax-deferred income. These are most familiar to everybody because they've been around a lot longer. The title of this is The Gift from the Government. Well, I have to be honest with you. The right-hand side, I think, was just a filler, if you will. So from 1974 until 1997, when the true gift came. That gift being the opportunity for tax-free income. That's where the Roth IRA came about. So I know a lot of us hold traditional IRAs or SEPs or simples or 401k plans that traditionally hold qualified plans under a traditional model of a tax-deferred income. But a lot more we're hearing about 401k plans that are starting to adopt the Roth IRA strategy within them, which is really exciting for us because it allows investors to invest in alternative assets that have tremendous growth patterns. And digital currency is one of those. And it is remarkable every day that I get to see people making millions of dollars tax-free through digital currency. It is awesome to watch. And I love that tax-free component because, like many of you out there, we are high income generators, and it kind of leaves us with limited options for tax-free income. But this is one of them that everybody can take advantage of. So if you're sitting on the left-hand column, reach out to us. We can teach you how to get to the right-hand column very quickly. And so we're going to move on from here. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood the difference between the two as we kind of work through this presentation. Now let's talk about the allowable investments. You know, for many, many years, there was this big question mark out there of whether or not digital currency was an allowable alternative investment under the IRS code for something that you could hold in your IRA. And it absolutely is. And in fact, they came out a couple of years ago and said that, which is rare. You don't see that very often where the IRS makes a stance on something, but digital currency is indeed a commodity that can be held in your IRA. It is not prohibited from being held. And in fact, the only things that are what you see here on the red line. So that makes everything else in our hemisphere something that we can invest in. So opening up a self-directed IRA that allows you to invest in digital currency doesn't limit you. You can go beyond that. You can invest in real estate and oil, gas, anything else on the alternative realm, specifically that doesn't correlate with the red line that you see here, which is basically, you know, life insurance policies, collectibles, and S Corp stock. Everything else, anything else you could imagine, dream of, is allowable to be held in your IRA. So those are the basics. So let's get into digital currency investment strategies and, you know, what choice is right for you while you're holding those inside of an IRA, and specifically a self-directed IRA that gives you all of these investment options. Because many of us have IRAs, whether that's with your employer, whether that's with, you know, I'll call them the big box shops out there, where they will allow you to invest in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That is their suite of products. This really blows the doors off of that. This allows you to invest in digital currency through your self-directed IRA in really two forms, in my opinion. The first form is for you to take complete control of this, because it's great that the government gave us this gift of this tax-free option. So how do we take advantage of it without all these, again, controls? The way you remove those controls is you open up a self-directed IRA, and then you also create an IRA LLC. For some people, this may be a new concept. For others, it may not. Basically, what it is it's your IRA owns an IRA LLC that's, let's call it the investment, that gives you the ability to have control of your purchases, your buys and sells of digital currency without the engagement of the custodian or preferred trust. It puts it back into your control. You've probably heard of this before, referenced as a checkbook IRA. What it really is it's an LLC, a company that's created, owned by the IRA, that gives you that checkbook control. That's one option. We're going to talk a lot more about that. The second option with preferred trust is that we can actually assist you in purchasing that digital currency. We have created a platform of cold storage. Obviously, there's a lot of securities around that. Some of which I can't discuss with you, but those of you that are in the digital currency realm will understand that. But we can actually create an IRA for you that then allows you to invest in digital currency with a hands-off approach, where preferred trust company is handling the purchase for you, the maintenance, if you will, holding custody of the digital currency in a cold storage environment. We can also do that. So those are the two options when investing in digital currency with preferred trust company. So let's break those down a little bit further. Let's talk about this IRA LLC, Carrie. What in the heck is this? What does this mean? Well, the IRS allows, obviously, the opportunity, because remember, this obviously isn't a collectible, this isn't life insurance, and this isn't an S Corp stock. This is a company that's created and owned by the IRA that gives you the autonomy as the manager of that LLC to act on behalf of that LLC. So what you do is you open up an IRA with preferred trust company that puts it into a self-directed, sheltered environment, whether that's a traditional or a Roth. You then establish the IRA LLC. Now that IRA LLC, you can pick the name, obviously, whatever company name you'd like to use. So let's call it ABC LLC for simple purposes. Then you move the funds that are in your IRA into the IRA LLC through a separate bank account that's created for that company. You then have control to buy and sell digital currency on whatever platform you choose. There's obviously a variety of different platforms out there that you can buy digital currency on. And then it gives you the option. Do you want to store it in a hot or cold wallet? You know, everybody has varying degrees of opinions about this. And I have one as well. You know, it's just a matter of how much risk you're willing to take on. And then once a year, preferred trust company requires that a fair market valuation on that IRA LLC is completed. So if you moved $100,000 into ABC LLC and 9 months later, it's worth $1 million, it's worth $1 million. We are reporting to the IRS that it's worth $1 million. And if it's in a Roth environment, you will never pay tax on that increase, ever. To me, that's the best gift the government has ever given us, ever. If it's in a traditional where it's tax deferred, then it will be tax deferred until you're 59 and a half. But again, like we talked about earlier, there are ways to get it from the tax deferred to the tax-free option. Call us, we can help you walk through that. So the beauty of all of this is this IRA LLC truly puts you in control, gives you the ability to buy and sell, gives you the opportunity to store it as you wish, and gives you the opportunity for tax deferred or tax-free income at the palm of your hands. Pretty cool, right? It definitely is, but it also assumes a tremendous amount of risk, because just because it's in that IRA LLC, it does not mean that you don't have to comply with the IRS code of qualified plan. And that's something I always want to make sure of, that the individual who's taking on the IRA LLC component in their IRA is at least knowledgeable about what they're getting themselves into. That's something that we can walk through with you to make sure you understand exactly what you can and can't do. So if you are willing to assume the risk of complying with the IRS rules and regulations, which is not difficult, it's easily taught, it's easy to obtain the information. It seems super scary, but please know, reach out to us. It's not scary. It's quite easy to do. If you've done your due diligence, know the risks associated in hot and cold wallets. You know, it still surprises me today, even the most sophisticated individuals that I speak with do not know the difference between hot and cold wallets. I know this audience probably has a pretty good grasp of that, but you know, please be careful whom you're working with. I've seen some horror stories out there, as you can imagine. You want to be able to complete real-time transactions. That's why you're doing this. Digital currency is ever changing. We all know that by the second. You cannot wait days or weeks for a custodian to complete a buy or a sell. That could mean the difference between hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending upon the transaction and size. So you do want to be in control, and an IRA LLC within your self-directed IRA will give you that. So that's a lot of the reason why people go down this path. And then you obviously, with the IRA LLC, you can now control these fees. Gosh, I see so much gouging that's going on out there in the custodial industry as it relates to digital currency. There is no reason why you need to be paying these obnoxious fees to purchase digital currency. I think we would all agree with that. So the IRA LLC gives you the ability to control that. You don't need to reach out to a broker. You don't need to pay their 5 to 15% fee to buy digital currency. You can buy it yourself. The IRA LLC gives you that ability. So these are the reasons why people are using it. This is the reason why I felt it important to educate you about it, to know that this option's available to you, but get it structured right. Not every custodian understands the IRA LLC. Not every custodian establishes it correctly. Not every attorney understands the self-directed component that's involved in creating the IRA LLC. We do at Preferred Trust. We can help you through that process. So let's look at our second option. The second option is more of the hands-off approach. And I will tell you that the vast majority of our clients choose this option. You know, we're all busy, right? We have 9-to-5 jobs, we have stuff going on. It's just easier for somebody else to handle it. And that's fine. We knew at Preferred Trust that we had to give both of those options because we have clients that fall under two different categories. So if you're not interested in the do-it-yourself option, we also do have the hands-off approach. So investing in digital currency with that hands-off approach is quite simple as well. It's not complicated. You open up an IRA. It's a self-directed IRA. The funds, by the way, coming into the IRA are typically transferred from your qualified plan that you currently have. Most of our clients already have established IRAs someplace else, you know, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Schwab, they come from all over the place, Fidelity, everywhere. And a lot of times they're actually coming from 401k plans. They're either old 401k plans or they're 401k plans that offer an opportunity for individuals to move some of their qualified plans out of the 401k plan and into a self-directed IRA. Not all existing plans offer that, so check with your plan administrator, but that's where these funds are coming from when you open up your IRA, or it's from the start of making contributions to your IRA. And on the first screen, I didn't go over it in specific detail because we don't have a lot of time for that, but there is specific criteria of how much you can contribute to an IRA each year. So check that out. You can start there as well. Once that has been completed, You identify the broker to purchase the digital currency from. Now, I know I just talked about, why you wouldn't want to use a broker and it's costly, but they're not all gougers. We do work with some brokers that don't gouge. And when I say don't gouge, they're on the lower spectrum of what they charge, but they obviously do charge for their service. So once you're able to identify the broker, the purchase of the digital currency occurs, and then Preferred Trust Company actually establishes a segregated cold storage wallet for you. Preferred Trust Company decided in 2017 to kind of get into this arena. And so in doing that, we obviously had to do our research, trial and error, set up extremely secure environment to do this. So we do provide cold segregated storage. It's not housed here at Preferred Trust Company, but we do have locations within a close proximity of where we operate. The funds are then transferred from your IRA to the digital currency trading platform where the digital currency was purchased. And then the digital currency platform sends the digital currency to that segregated wallet that we have designated specifically for you for that type of digital currency. We confirm that transaction has been completed. And from that moment on, you have cold storage for the variety of different digital currencies that we offer at Preferred Trust Company. And so from there, you can buy and sell digital currency upon request, working with us directly. We do move very quickly on those requests. We obviously have relationships with trading platforms, so we can buy and sell quite quickly upon request. But I want to talk just for a second about the risk associated in this. I know that you're probably thinking, a custodian shouldn't be holding cold storage of digital currency. And I'm here to tell you that it can be done in a secure environment with the right insurances around it, with knowledgeable people, because we're doing it. But there is a lot of risk out there. And I have concern about that risk in me talking about the fact that we are doing it, because you're probably going to go out and research this. Now, what you're going to find is on the left-hand column, you're going to find administrators out there that are claiming to be a custodian, that are claiming to be regulated and licensed, and they're not. And it's very easy to figure that out, because as a custodian, you have to be regulated and licensed. And when I say regulated and licensed, you're regulated and licensed under the Financial Institutions Division in the state you operate, by the Department of Labor, and by the IRS. Those are three organizations you really don't want to mess around with. So these administrators out there that are doing this, they will eventually, it will unravel. It's just a matter of time. Don't get caught in that risk factor. The second is the investment sponsor. Many times these brokers are out here selling digital currency, and they don't have a money services license to do it. And you really should. We do. We have one because we are exchanging, if you will, money. And in order to do that, you need to be licensed to do that. And there's a lot of brokers out there that are selling us digital currency that carry no licenses to be able to perform the task that they're doing. So, buyer beware there, check that out. And then the trading platforms, not all trading platforms are regulated or governed. And I know that, at hindsight, you don't want that regulation. You don't, it's digital currency, right? You don't want to be monitored. You don't want to be watched. But let's just be honest. You cannot buy digital currency out there on any legitimate trading platform without providing them all of your personal information now, right? Because the IRS wants to get paid taxes on your income. And so those trading platforms out there that aren't regulated or governed by any agency, that's a little scary. The trading platforms that we work with are regulated. And that's important to us because when I send them your $300,000 for your purchase, I want to have some reassurance that I'm actually going to get the digital currency transferred back to the wallet that I've given them. I think we would all agree that security and mitigating that risk is very, very, very important with digital currency. So on the right-hand side, mitigate the risk. Work with a custodian that's regulated and licensed. Look into the brokers that you're buying from. Even if it's through the IRA LLC, make sure that these are individuals or characters that have some legitimacy to them, because there are so many out there right now that it is scary. And again, I have seen these horror stories, and that's why I'm mentioning this to all of you today. And then working with a trading platform that you can ensure that you're actually going to receive the digital currency that you're buying. So when you send the wire, make sure that you get the digital currency back in return. As it pertains to Preferred Trust Company, I think it's really simple to explain who we are, and you can go research us on your own as well. But we are licensed and regulated by the agencies that I just described to you a few minutes ago. So the Nevada Financial Institutions Division, the Department of Labor, and the IRS. All three of those agencies govern us. One of them does an annual exam every single year in regards to making sure that our trust administration is handled properly, and that we're custodying assets properly, and that we're reporting to the IRS properly. We do provide superior customer service, and you don't have to take that from me. You can go look that up. There's a lot of custodians out there that get a bad rap, and maybe they should. I don't know. I don't work with them specifically, but customer service is really, really important. Working with knowledgeable individuals. I educate all of my staff continuously. It's ever changing. We have to be on top of things. It's like having the IRA LLC. Yes, is it a different approach? Does it open up, potential risk? Yes, it does. But we work with individuals. We educate individuals to make sure that we mitigate that risk, that they're not creating a disqualifying event within their IRA. It's really, really important to us to make sure that before we open those types of IRAs, that we really make sure that you understand what you're getting involved in. We charge reasonable fees. We don't work for free. Nobody does. So we do charge reasonable fees for a very, very high quality of service that you will receive through the custody of your self-directed IRA with us, no matter what type of investment that it is. We are forced to specialize in a variety of different investments out there. We have to, right? Because there's so much that's available. So, if I have to get educated about farming and tractors and, raising goats, because you can have them in your IRA, then that's what I have to do. That's my job. That's my responsibility. So yes, we will educate us on any type of alternative asset that you want to hold in your self-directed IRA. And we are committed to meeting deadlines. We know how important deadlines are. This isn't the only company I run, so I understand deadlines very, very, very well. I understand that by the minute, by the second, by the hour in digital currency, you could be losing money or making money. And that's on the shoulders of me completing the transactions in a timely fashion. I get it. We understand it. It's very important to us, as important as it is to you. And we do put our money where our mouth is. 2020 was a rough year for everybody. I think we would all agree. But I'm one of those very fortunate companies that flourished during 2020. And so for that, we are actually giving back in 2021. We are not charging any establishment fees to set up a self-directed IRA. And we're also not charging our first year administration fees at all. We've waived it across the board, everybody, for the entire year. We had a great year last year, and we wanted to just pay it forward this year with everybody that we're working with. So this year, if you want to set up that IRA, no harm, no foul. It's not going to cost you anything to get it set up. It's not going to cost you anything for the administration fees. Yes, am I going to charge you fees to process your digital currency? Absolutely, I am. But aside from that, we are waiving those other fees. Depending upon the value of your account, that could be worth anywhere from $300 to $1,000 to you. So it's a significant amount of money that we are paying forward. With that being said, I want to do a quick recap. I know that I'm probably speaking very fast. I only had 30 minutes, so I was really trying to get a bunch of information in there. Want to go over these 6 key factors here, see if we have a little bit of time for a couple Q&A. Number 1, digital currency can be held in an IRA. Number 2, digital currency in an IRA can be held in hot and cold storage. Digital currency in an IRA can be bought and sold. Digital currency in an IRA can be custodied by Preferred Trust Company or obviously your LLC. Digital currency increases in value can be tax deferred and tax free in an IRA. It can be. Digital currency is an investment, and it does bear risk like every other investment. And no, I don't have insurance to cover the risk of the loss of your investment. I don't have insurance for that. Our insurance is for other things, obviously related to cybersecurity and professional liability and things along those lines. I do not cover the risk of digital currency losses. You know, that's something that we all bear with every investment that we do. So I want to make sure that I do cover that. But yeah, digital currency is exciting. It is one of my main joys in life. The buying and the selling of the digital currency and watching people make millions of dollars in their IRA in this tax sheltered environment. It's exciting. And if you're not doing it, you should. You absolutely should look into it. You should consider it. Why pay more taxes than you have to? So with that, I'm going to wrap up and see if we do have any questions.
You got two quick questions.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right. So Stephen Hurley says, how much do you currently in custodial management of crypto?
In crypto, I have well, it varies, obviously by the minute, by the hour, by the day. Are you talking about the cold storage that we're holding or the hot and cold combined? I can't answer specific questions about the cold storage for obvious reasons. You know, I do not want to expose us to any additional risk, but in generality, I can tell you that that it's over 1,000 clients that are holding digital currency with us, and the average client is up there in the $500,000 range. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay. The next, we have 1 minute. An IRA is not a qualified plan other than a SEP or simple, technically speaking. What are the additional IRC requirements versus IRA without a LLC sub?
Ask that question one more time. So the SEP and the simple are not qualified, you said?
Not a qualified plan. This may be one you want to take offline just since we're buttoned up, and I can get that to you from Tim.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Yeah, I will definitely answer that one. It sounds like that one needs to be broken up in a couple different questions.
Sure. All right. Well, I'll get those to you.
Perfect. I appreciate it.